Hey guys, nice to have all of you tuning in. This is a very warm hello to all the viewers who are with us today. Welcome to our live webinar. Uh, the webinar today that we're having is on capture to share with GoPro. This is something that we've been planning for quite a while, and I hope you really enjoy it. Uh, Before we begin, even as we come together to share our learnings, please let me take a moment to say that we all support, we are all in awe, and wholeheartedly thank the real heroes of today, the health and sanitation workers, the police, the journalists and photojournalists, the environmentalists, researchers, everybody on the front lines of COVID-19. We have all shifted to a new way of living. We need to make peace with that. But of course, the heroes of today are these people who are on the front lines, and we need to uh, give them a very big thank you from our side. My name is K. Madhavan Pillai. I'm the chief editor of Better Photography. Better Photography is one of 26 member publications of the worldwide organization TIPA, otherwise known as the Technical Image Press Association. Many of you might know us as a print publication, but we are also very much digital. You can subscribe to Better Photography on Magstar. But during the COVID-19 crisis, Better Photography thought that we should all do our bit to keep photographers informed. So the April, May, and June issues are all available as a download by simply putting in your email address on our website. It is absolutely free. The website is www.betterphotography.in. Coming to today's agenda, this is capture and share with GoPro. We are all here to talk about the possibilities and advantages of GoPro and how GoPro family members and photographers and filmmakers who are associated with GoPro have used GoPro for their professional work. We have three exciting GoPro family members with us for this webinar. But before we introduce them to you, please let me make a very personal kind of an introduction to GoPro myself. Uh, GoPro has been an exceptional addition to the photographic equipment family. It makes our lives so very exciting. But as a company, it's relatively young as far as photography companies go. It was founded in 2002 by Nick Woodman after a surfing trip to Australia. At that time, there was no gear at all that could take the kind of action shots that Nick Woodman wanted while during the surfing expedition that he was on. At least not by the equipment that was afforded by a regular photographer. So he created GoPro, the world's first practical action cam, released in 2004. You know, what might actually surprise a lot of you is that the camera at that time, the first camera ever released, the first action cam ever released in 2004, cost just $20 at the time, and it was completely analog and it used film. What would perhaps be even more surprising is that there were some attempts before this to have an action cam. For instance, here's a photo of the very famous Hollywood star. Can we just share the photo, please? Yeah, so that's Steve McQueen. You know, he was known as the king of cool. He starred in many of the biggest action movies that came out of Hollywood at the time. This was, of course, in 1971. That was the action cam strapped to one side of his head with the battery pack strapped to the other side of his head, as you can see. And that was what it was in 1971. Of course, GoPro changed all of this. In 2004, what GoPro invented at that point of time sparked off the true action cam genre of cameras. It created a whole new range of genre of cameras. To talk a little bit more about GoPro briefly and to introduce our panelists today, our GoPro family members, please welcome Yatish from GoPro to make the introductions. Thank you, Yatish, for joining in.
Hi, Madhavan. Truly excited about this live stream session, and let's dive straight into it. I'll just quickly take you through a small presentation. All right, then. I hope the screen is visible. I'll give you a brief intro on what is GoPro, what does GoPro mean to us, and what's our vision with it. Essentially, GoPro, we want to celebrate what you do in your daily lives, your daily adventures. GoPro is just not about jumping from airplanes or taking that crazy ski trip somewhere. It's also about sharing your daily adventures, celebrating your little moments, your weekend treks, times you spend with your children, with your best friends, your food runs, and more. It basically enables you to do things, to capture content that you would not be able to do with a DSLR or smartphone. And it the way it enables it is by its rugged and waterproof nature, which we'll get into a bit more detail in the next few minutes. So essentially, GoPro makes it possible by three ways. One is the product itself, which is absolutely tiny. It fits into your pocket. You can drop it around. It's super rugged. It's waterproof up to 10 meters. And the second part is the mounts and accessories, which let you mount the GoPro to a variety of things, and lets you use it in a variety of situations. You can body mount it. You can put it on your chest. You can put it on your head. You can put it on your wrist. You can mount it on a motorbike. You can mount it on a swing when you want to capture your kids while they're playing in a playground. You can even keep it mounted on a tripod, or on your balcony, on your window, to capture time-lapse video of clouds going by in the evening as the sun sets. So essentially, these two are the main integral parts of a GoPro ecosystem. But there's a third, again, very important part, which is the GoPro app. Because it's not just about capturing, it's also about sharing your best, most important moments of your life. And the GoPro app lets you not only edit your content in the most simplest manner possible, but it also lets you share it to your favorite social media network. Having said that, today we have three really exciting GoPro family members who are absolutely incredible in their own kind of photography. First up, we have Jan Joseph George, who is a lifestyle photo and a videographer, and he's been using GoPro for many years now, across the different iterations, different launches. And I'm truly excited to introduce Jan Joseph today. Can we have the AV, please? Okay, then. And up next, we have... hang on. Yeah, and up next, we have... yeah. Can you continue? Yeah, go on.
I'm Jan Joseph George, and I'm so excited to be here. And this is going to be a fun session.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks a lot. I welcome you to the live stream. And next we have Abhinav. Now, who doesn't love a great wedding? I mean, India is known for its big, massive, weddings, and there's a lot of colors, a lot of people, a lot of food, and a lot of fun that happens at wedding. And what better to capture it than with this tiny, camera? And we have an expert who does that all the time. Abhinav Sa is with us today, who does a ton of wedding photography with a ton of GoPro cameras. Over to you, Abhinav.
Done, recorded? Oh,
it's recording.
Okay. You're looking so beautiful.
No, you're supposed to keep it out.
Ah, okay.
Hi guys, hi everyone. So nice to be part of this.
Hello, Abhinav. Welcome again to the live stream. Now moving on to a third, GoPro family member. She has actually mastered the difficult art of capturing, photographing kids, as they're out and about, running around, doing their thing, being really, really busy, having fun. We have Neha, who is also on Instagram as Neha Braxton Photography. Neha, over to you.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was wonderful.
Hey guys, super excited to be here and to talk about the work I've been doing with these tiny humans with the tiniest piece of equipment I've ever used.
Thank you, Yatish, and welcome all. Welcome to Jan, welcome to Abhinav, welcome Neha to our webinar. It's wonderful to have all of you with us.
Thank you.
And as we saw in the video, it was some spectacular perspectives, spectacular visuals, all coming through such a tiny little GoPro. So before we begin, I just want to, Yatish, if I may, I just want to make a small introduction of the three of you. I've been interacting with Neha, Abhinav, and Jan. Of course, Abhinav I've known for a while because Abhinav has also won the Kodak Better Photography Wedding Photographer of the Year Awards back in 2010. I still remember that image that Abhinav had shot from then. He won the behind the scenes category, which is a especially tough category to actually get through and win. And with a very wonderful photo. So Abhinav has been doing a lot of wonderful photography. I have been interacting with Jan and Neha more recently, and their photography and their work are also absolutely truly spectacular. So basically, we have three distinct genres of photography. One is weddings with Abhinav, lifestyle with Jan, and lifestyle can be so much. Lifestyle is not just about fine cars and fine homes. It's just about so much. As I've noticed with Jan's work, and Neha, thank you for being with us today. Neha has been shooting children, which in my mind can be, because I have got a 5-year-old myself, so I know how energetic and how crazy things can get when you're trying to shoot kids. So thank you for
Absolutely.
being with us. So just to kickstart the session, my first question to all three of you, actually, we can start with Abhinav. Abhinav, my first question would be to you. Could you tell us a little bit about how you use GoPro in your workspace, in your work environment, and how you ended up with GoPro? I mean, let's begin with that. How did you select GoPro as a camera that you wanted to work with?
Okay, so we started actually using GoPro way back in 2012, and that's the time when it was more for the action part of the work we did. So since GoPro system is a waterproof system and it had a rugged body, we could use it in situations where normal cameras couldn't work. So instances like underwater in a pool party, mounting it on a car when a bidai is happening. So situations like that, we started using GoPro, but over the years, we have evolved into actually making use of GoPro in normal situations. So a lot of photograph and the video you have already seen, nothing had action in them. And now GoPro has almost become like our secondary main camera. So we call them the tiny giants now, because they do a lot of work which doesn't classify into action photography as such. So I have a couple of early images to show from what we started shooting and I'll just quickly pull up a couple of images. So this is one of the early use of GoPros we did, which was all underwater. And we mounted it on a drone and we shot with it on a drone and we dipped the camera inside water and it then evolved into images like this, which is very recent and which doesn't have any action as such. It's a very generic wedding image. It's a dance image, but we use it in situations like this and like this. So I'll talk about more on this in the following session. And
So Neha, coming to you about your use of GoPro and your introduction to GoPro. When did you start using GoPro and how did it evolve? How did you also tell us a little bit about being a GoPro family member? How did you become a GoPro family member?
So I've actually been photographing kids for the last 12 years. And someone from GoPro, Mayuri, got in touch with me last year. And she said, how would you like to shoot with a camera which can give you some really crazy perspectives where, you can sort of mount it on you, you can mount it on the kids, you can mount it on a dog. And it just sounded so exciting to me. I was on board immediately. I was like, when can I get my hands on this equipment? And being a GoPro family member was actually probably the most exciting thing because I guess GoPro already knew that, apart from being a children's photographer, I am an adventure junkie. I love travel. I love going crazy. So I would fit right in. And, they said that we're going to have a training session for all the pan-India GoPro brand ambassadors. And I thought it's going to be in a classroom. But of course, it ended up being at Duke's Nose in Khandala, where we're rappelling down this 150-foot cliff drop. So it was amazing to, interact with all the family members, get into that energy and kind of translate that into the shoots where children have so much boundless energy. And, they're so excited to work with an equipment that's safe enough for them to use. It can be mounted on so many different things, and, different things in the playground can be mounted on them. You get like sibling perspectives, parents' perspectives, kids' perspectives. And it's just incredible to use. So, I mean, it was the most exciting thing for me in the 12 years that I've been shooting with kids. Absolutely love it.
Thanks, Neha. And what about Jan? Jan, you shoot lifestyle with GoPro. So tell us a little bit about lifestyle with GoPro and what drew you to GoPro in the first place. What drew your attention to GoPro in the first place?
So for me, when I started photography, I just wanted to try different things. So I did a bit of travel. So I had this my friend who had this little camera. So that was the first time I'm seeing this camera. It was a Hero 3, and it was, I was using the bigger camera, and this was so surprising. But the results it gave surprised me even more. And then I had this fascination of buying the next version of that, and it was damn expensive in India back then. So I asked someone to bring it from Dubai, and then I started this journey with GoPro. I traveled across, and I did this road trip, and I took GoPro with me. And I'm not an adventure person, or I didn't do a lot of underwater initially. So it was just in my travels. So it was just like anyone who could use it. I was just using it like that, mostly selfies and impossible angles that your usual camera cannot go and do it. So that's how I started using it, and then GoPro came in and then asked me, would you like to be a part of the GoPro India family? And I was like, okay, sure. And then it has been an amazing journey. I've tried and tested out all the versions from Hero 5 now till Hero 8, and it's quite an advancement in the technology, and the kind of usage we get now is amazing. So it's like GoPro keeps surprising me when every camera comes out. So that's like a high for me.
Thank you, Jan. For me, speaking on a personal level about GoPro, the very first time that I saw GoPro in action, okay, was on a rally track. Now, as you know, a rally track is the kind of place where you cannot cross the track. You can't, because even if the track is empty for now, there could be a car just on the bend and they come at tremendous speeds. and I saw two photographers belonging to the same group of photographers, and the one guy from one side of the track yelled out to the other side of the track saying that, "Hey, throw it!" And this guy had a tiny go, he threw it. I couldn't, until that point, I never thought that a photographer would throw a camera, and he threw the camera, he caught it like a cricket ball, and he extended his arm, placed the camera on the track, and the car went over it. And I just was very curious to find out what kind of a shot he got, and I was actually amazed that he got the underside of the car with a trail of dust behind it, and that was my first time that I actually saw a GoPro being used by a professional photographer. And it happened so quickly and so fast, and it was so small and so sturdy. So so some of these attributes of GoPro actually changes the way you shoot, especially its size and the ruggedness of it. It changes the way you shoot. uh, so let me come back to Neha, as a child photographer, especially when you're photographing kids. Does the size and the ruggedness, what does it actually say about, how does it change the way you shoot? How did it
So,
change your perspective?
yeah, yeah. So, actually, I have a funny story about this also, because the first time I used the GoPro with a bunch of kids, they were like hanging upside down on the monkey bars in a playground, and I'd put the GoPro on a head mount. So when they went upside down, and they were like kind of swinging back and forth, the GoPro fell onto the ground, and they obviously must have been playing around with their parents' phones and dropped them on the ground before and been screamed and yelled at, because they totally flipped out, jumped off, and ran to the GoPro to like rescue it. And they picked it up and it was working perfectly fine, and their expressions were just priceless. So I love the fact that you can hand it to them. It actually, the fact that they can see that it survives all of this, you can chuck it in the water, you can throw mud on it, you can jump in muddy puddles, you can be in the rain. It gives the kids also a lot of confidence to just completely go nuts and let loose that natural energy that they have. So, and my way of doing photography with kids has always been to keep the story raw and authentic, and to try and capture as much of their real moments, the stuff that they absolutely love to do, so that the pictures and the video footage that we get are very authentic. So the fact that they don't have to hold back at all really contributes towards that a lot, and it's changed things a lot as a photographer, because I'm actually making these tiny humans into little photographers. So GoPro is just fab when it comes to that.
Thanks, Nia. We have a couple of questions that are coming up on a live feed. I think we will actually, as we go along, we shall accept questions that are coming up on the live feed too. So if you have an interesting question, we will take it up, and we'll get them answered by Abhinav, Jan, or Neha, or by Yatish. So one of the questions that has come across is: have any of the photographers used GoPro to shoot Holi? As you know, Holi in India is a terrific, or more rather, a terrible time for for a photographer. If you need to actually shoot Holi, people come here with underwater housing, okay, with their camera. So do photographers actually use a GoPro to shoot Holi, Indian Holi? It's by Paul Ang. Paul Ang is asking,
Yeah,
have any of the photographers used the GoPro to shoot Holi? Have any of you tried that, using GoPro
yeah.
to shoot
So
Holi?
the first time I did the road trip, so I had this opportunity to shoot it in Himachal in Kasol, and that is the time I am even first time shooting Holi. So I had my DSLR with me, but I just kept it more safe, and I used my GoPro. Like I just threw it around. I had this selfie stick, and I could just ask people to throw these colors and waters onto the camera. Even they were surprised because back then, that time, like maybe 4 years back, it was GoPro was not that kind of into the reaches of the people. So I got amazing results that day with the GoPro, and that is the first time I tried, and it was surprising. And then I left my DSLR away so I could get more with my GoPro.
Thanks, Jan. Yeah, so GoPro is absolutely usable in Holi. I mean, you can throw colors at it, you can get water, it's soaked in the colored water, and you can just wash it under a tap. So that's what a lot of photographers actually do during Holi. Sensible photographers, that is. Okay, so we have one more question, which again, I think, Jan, you can take this question. What is the resolution that GoPro offers?
Uh, so as a in photo range, I think it's 12 megapixel. Uh, so that is good You cannot just say the resolution, but it's more like you cannot just like okay, it just gives 12 megapixel picture. It's not that. It's about the details, and I think when it's wide, I think you can get enough details on any GoPro. So from Hero 4, what I've used, I've got significant improvement in the GoPros that has come up now, and the Max and Fusion that I've used, they have incredible details because it's 360. So that is photo side, and the video side you get 4K now. So you cannot ask for more. I mean 4K and 60 frames per second recording and 1080p. You have 240 and that much kind of FPS. So that is industrial standard. So I think that only the pro cameras can provide you, and I love that. You can shoot a time lapse in 4K and you can compress it down. You can shoot a time lapse in 2.7K. There's a lot of options. Anything, even the video. So resolution, you have a whole range on any GoPro you have.
Thank you, Jan. So basically, the GoPro is a camera that has got usable resolutions. Let me just add to what Jan said at that point of time. So, to again, Paul Ang had asked that previous question. Just to answer that question a little bit more succinctly, it's important to understand that resolution is not everything. It's a resolution as compared to the size of the sensor that makes a big difference. I'm glad that in fact that GoPro has stuck to 12 million pixels and has not increased it to something like 16, 20, 24 million pixels, because 12 million pixels happens to be perfect kind of pixel size for the kind of sensor that GoPro has, which is the reason why GoPro is able to provide all those details in its image. And to back that up again, there's a lot of processing that happens, and this processing, the algorithms that are used by GoPro uh, has been improving constantly over the years. And now today, the point at which GoPro has reached, it produces fabulous results in various kinds of conditions. So you don't really have to worry about the resolution. It does it all. 4K at 60p is excellent resolution. 12 megapixels is good resolution for most practical circumstances, whether it's online, whether it's for video, whether it's for stills. You want to make a large A3 size print, you can do that with 12 million pixels. So going to my next question, which is basically about GoPro is rugged, it is durable, and it is waterproof. Do you have any, coming back to Abhinav, do you have any interesting stories about how these particular features of GoPro, become very important, especially when you're photographing?
So let me draw a very funny analogy between the kind of work we do. So wedding photography is very similar to wildlife photography. As in, it's unpredictable. You can get attacked from any direction. Uh, Things can come at you without any warning. So situations like haldi is happening and somebody just throws a bucket full of colored water towards the bride and the groom, and you are there sitting with your camera. So a lot of mishaps keep happening with the equipment. So what happens is we need to take extra care. But when we use GoPro, we actually don't care about all these things. So way back, I think in 2013, we were shooting a pool party with a GoPro, which was mounted on a drone. And a kid actually threw a ball at the drone itself. And the entire drone, along with the GoPro, fell inside the pool. And when we took it out, the camera was still functioning. We still got the footage out of it. And that's the time we realized that the system is here to stay with us. As in, these are the situations where the GoPro really, really shines. So I think nothing else could survive. As in, even the client was absolutely terrified looking at the entire system going inside water, but it just survived. So I think that says a lot about the small system we have. So,
Thank you, Abhinav. So I have, a follow-up question on that. But before that, there's a question that has come on our live feed, which is, can photographs be printed from the videos made on GoPro? I'm
yeah.
guessing that this question has come from a wedding photographer, because that's usually, the kind of from Kishan Chand Chataram says, can photographs be printed from the videos produced by GoPro?
Yeah. So yes, it can be printed. If you shoot in 4K, the resolution is good enough. And if there is decent enough light, you can actually take the screen grab from the 4K footage, which is nearly a 12 megapixel image, and you can straight up print. Uh, if I can share a certain image which is actually coming from a screen grab, I'm sharing my screen right now. So this image is actually coming from a video. It's not a still image. And this has actually gone in the print album. So this is a screen grab from a 4K video of the same thing. As in, I wasn't shooting an image at this point of time. So is this image. This is also coming from a video which is shot at 4K, and a screen grab has been taken, and uh, that's been used to print in the album.
So, Kishan, just to answer your question, absolutely, it is very much possible to use the 4K video. You can grab frames from the 4K video and you can actually print it out. And it is perfectly good, as Abhinav has shared. There is another question that has come across, a very interesting one, in fact, which brings us to the accessories. But let me just ask this question first and then ask my question as a sort of follow up to this question. Being a wildlife photographer, I like to shoot flamingos from very close angle, up close. Is there a metal case available so as to keep the GoPro safe? Now, this is by Dr. Sudhir Gaikwad. Again, I'll repeat the question. Being a wildlife photographer, I like to shoot flamingos. Is there some sort of a metal case available or something where I can protect the camera, obviously, so that I keep the GoPro safe? Now, coming to again, durability, waterproofing, and ruggedness of the camera, GoPro has many accessories. Um, so what would be the answer to this question? Jan, would you like to take this up since you do underwater photography as well?
Yeah. So thing is, for me personally, I never use any super protective cases. I just take it to the why I mean wherever I have traveled, I've taken to the animals or this thing. But in case you want extra protection, you can go for the underwater housing. It comes with a good protective casing. I think you don't need metal case as such, but already it's pretty rugged. So the GoPro inside is also pretty rugged. Like if you are using 08, 07, 05, GoPro with just the camera itself is pretty rugged and everything. So you can get an underwater housing, and if you're still not satisfied, you can get maybe more protective metal casing. Maybe I don't know if GoPro sells it, but you can get a third party. But I don't usually prefer that kind of a protection for GoPro because GoPro is just there to be thrown into the field just like that. It can make everything.
Thank you, Jan. So Neha, would you like to add to that, because you were talking about the jaw flex, and in the accessories, and also
Yes.
Neha, one thing that I just that Jan had mentioned, that you can take the GoPro as is without even a case and you can throw it about. So the GoPro, if I believe, if unless I'm mistaken, Yatish, correct me if I'm wrong, but even without a casing, the GoPro is waterproof up to 10 meters underwater. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. In fact, I have my GoPro right here, and there's no protective casing on it at all. It's got a little screen where you can see what exactly you're shooting, and you don't really need any protective covering. There is a little floaty device, but it's not really required. But what I really want to talk about is the jaw flex clamp. This is literally the coolest accessory ever because it's not like very flimsy at all. You can mold it into any shape you want and literally clip it onto anything. I'm just going to share a couple of images of what I've actually shot with this. So this image of the kid coming down the slide has been shot with the jaw flex clamp, which is clamped onto the bottom of the slide. And my hands are out. I don't need to actually hold anything. My hands are free to receive the child, and I'm like telling her that I'm going to tickle her. So the reaction of her coming down the slide is completely 100% genuine. And it works really well because even if you don't have somebody there to help you, while you're shooting, you can just clip it onto anything. Like, for example, I'll show another image also, which is not necessarily like, a really cool GoPro perspective. But what I love about it is that I didn't have any help that day with my nieces. And sometimes, parents, for example, they might just be only the mom or the dad who are actually with the kids. And, to be able to actually capture an image which shows the kind of fun that they're having is great. So, this is one of those merry-go-round type things in the playground. So I've just clipped it on to one of the horses that's on the other side, and we're just going crazy, So it really helps to have something which you can clip onto stuff. But there's so many different accessories that really help. There's a bite mount, which when you jump into the water, you can just bite onto it, and it carries on taking shots. There's this tiny little handheld device, which is great for kids, because they have tiny little hands. So for them, it's the best selfie stick ever. And you can actually extend it also, but this size works really well for kids. So the accessories are amazing.
Thanks, Neha. So, Dr. Gaikwad, of course, children's photography is not exactly wildlife photography, although many would argue that too. I think, children photography, wedding photography can be very close to wildlife photography too. But yes,
Totally.
GoPro is very rugged on its own. It does not really need an external casing. But if you do want a little bit of extra protection, it comes with a casing which will completely protect your GoPro. The GoPro on its own is can be taken underwater to even 10 meters, which is like diving depth. You really can't go beyond that as a professional diver. So the thing is that GoPro is tough. It is rugged. There are many accessories like the jaw flex clamp, which Neha just showed. And yes, so using that you can get close to flamingos. There is one another aspect of GoPro which maybe Abhinav you can talk about, Ajan that you can talk about, which is the remote control, the remote thing. What happens when you have a smart device like a cell phone? What can you do with a smart device like a cell phone and with GoPro?
So we actually use the GoPro app a lot in the weddings, because what happens is we have multiple GoPros on location, and we always do a recce of the place before the actual shoot happens. So stuff like say a mandap. So what we do is we mount the GoPro right on the top of a mandap on the inside, and we don't start recording unless the activity starts, right? Because you can't be recording like 4 hours of a wedding happening. So what we do is we keep all the GoPros on, and they're all connected with our smartphone devices, and then we can remotely control everything about it, right? From what mode the GoPro is shooting on, what it is shooting, what frame rate it is shooting, when does it need to record. So what we do is we actually completely control the GoPros from our mobile devices using the GoPro app, and it's like a lifesaver. It also helps us transfer the images directly to our phone. So it becomes like an instant sharing with the client. A lot of time what happens is client just gets happy seeing what just happened in front of them. So we can actually transfer the images back from the GoPro to the mobile device, edit on the mobile device and send it to the client on their WhatsApp. And they are like super happy. So the GoPro app is like, I think, the most killer feature of the entire system for us, apart from obviously the absolutely beautiful hardware. So
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. And there is a interesting question that maybe Abhinav you can answer this particular question, which is how many sets of batteries? Since you mentioned that you were shooting weddings. Weddings, of course, is not something that lasts for half an hour. It's something that goes on for 4 hours, 5 hours, sometimes a whole day. How many sets of batteries do you recommend photographers to have because it depletes rapidly? So tell us something about the battery life of a GoPro, and how many batteries do you normally carry with you at a wedding?
so the battery system has also evolved for GoPro. Like the current generation of GoPro Hero 8, they last almost, if I compare from Hero 6 or 5, they last almost twice as much. But what we do is we still have 3 batteries for each GoPros we are having. And we have a dual charger for each of the GoPros. So if we have 5 GoPros, we have 5 dual chargers and 15 sets of batteries in total. So what happens is the moment a battery runs out, we quickly replace and it goes in the charger, which can be charged with any USB powered power bank or anything which has a USB port. So which almost everywhere we can find. So all we have is power banks charging the GoPro battery, and whatever GoPros are running, we can just replace. The second option we use for time lapses is we actually power the GoPro using the power bank itself. So you can actually connect the power bank to the GoPro directly, and it just keeps going. That's it. So if you have like a big power bank, the GoPro will run almost for like 6, 7, 8 hours without any problem. So
That's an
that's
extremely useful feature to have, especially if you can connect a GoPro to a power bank directly. That's a huge, extremely good feature to have, especially for people who are using the GoPro primarily for video. It makes a lot of sense to have that kind of a backup. So thanks, Abhinav, for answering that. Yatish, there is a question that has come for you, which
Okay.
is basically about the differences in the different generations of GoPro. So the
Okay.
question is by Prakash Haldar, who's asking, what are the major differences between the GoPro 7 and the GoPro 8?
All right, so I'll just touch upon some of the major differences between them. Now, on physically, if you see the GoPro, folding fingers on the bottom are the one huge add-on. Now, these are backward compatible with all the other mounts that also can go in on the GoPro Hero 7. So, and they fold back. So folding fingers is a new huge add-on. Secondly, on the physical bit, the battery compartment, we've the positioning of that has changed, and so has the battery. The Hero 8 battery is indicated with a blue bit at its bottom. That's one of the few physical changes. Apart from that, on the features bit, the Hero 8 Black has improved HDR as compared to the GoPro Hero 7 Black. The Hero 8 also supports something called as live burst. Now, live burst is something really interesting. It actually when in the live burst mode, the camera actually captures 1.5 seconds of footage before you click the shutter and 1.5 seconds after you click the shutter. So essentially, you don't miss any interesting moment that you quickly pull out a GoPro to capture. So I use that mode a lot. It's super useful. The other differences, I would say, main ones are that now you can also record with in 2.7K and 4K. On the Hero 8 Black, you can record with 100 Mbps, which is great for professionals. I mean, Abhinav would definitely agree with this one. It gives you that kind of a bandwidth to capture some really high quality content. And the Hero 8 Black is also supports HyperSmooth 2.0, which gets you those really slick, butter smooth videos. Basically, we just kill the shake. It doesn't matter if you're jumping, if you're running around, if you're on a motorbike, or if you're playing with kids, or if you've strapped your GoPro Hero 8 Black on the back of your pet dog and the dog is running, your footage will be butter smooth at all times. And finally, the Hero 8 supports the mods that we've recently launched. The media mod, display mod, and a light mod. So I would say these are some of the main differences. Horizon leveling, time warp 2.0, HyperSmooth 2.0, and the new folding fingers. The sound recording quality also has been improved a lot on the Hero 8 Black. So in a nutshell, it would be these.
Thank you, Yatish. So basically, the Hero 8 is the version of GoPro to really go for.
Yes.
Obviously, the very latest GoPros come with the advantages of all that research, development, and engineering that has gone before it. So it is always an improved model that comes out through. And GoPro is one of the few companies that have actually showed significant improvements with every model of GoPro. So that is something that you can carefully consider. You mentioned something, Yatish, about HyperSmooth
Right.
technology,
Yeah.
and this is something maybe I would like again Abhinav to actually talk about because again, coming to weddings is where something like image stabilization becomes a very important aspect of. After maybe Jan and Neha can also talk a little bit about it, how it helps them with their photography. But Abhinav, can you take this question? How is so GoPro? The latest version of GoPro, especially, is called a gimbal killer. So that's a very strong term to use for a GoPro. So does it really work? How does it work? Abhinav, can you just talk a little bit about this?
So I'll just like add on to the previous question, which was asked about the differences between the 7 and the 8. Now, uh, earlier the HyperSmooth wasn't available at all the resolutions. It wasn't available at a 4K at 60 FPS. So you had to get down the resolution. Now, what happens is since it's a tiny system, we have to use the maximum image size so that we can resize it in post to get the best image quality out of the tiny system. Now with Hero 8, they have made HyperSmooth available at 4K, even at 60 FPS. And trust me, there's a footage which will come up on screen in a couple of seconds. I've shot that footage actually holding the GoPro just like this. And I've gone around a client, like two people who are actually dancing, and I've gone around them just holding the GoPro as simple as this. Nothing in my hand, no stabilization. I haven't taken any precautions of running smoothly or something. I've just gone around them. And it has actually come out, I would say, better than a gimbal, because a gimbal a lot of times still gets a shake of your body. For some reason, GoPro eliminates that as well. And it's unbelievable. If that footage can come up on screen right now, it will actually show how well and this is also 60 FPS. So you can see this is at 4K and 60 FPS, and I'm actually going around. And if you just look at the background, there's absolutely no shake.
That's fantastic.
It's butter smooth. It's actually shot like this, as I mentioned. No accessories, nothing on my hand. Not even like a stick, which will make it even more stable. I've just shot it because it was like an impromptu thing. I had to just take out the GoPro and shoot. So brilliant is the only word for HyperSmooth right now. It is actually a gimbal. Yeah.
So this is basically HyperSmooth 2.0.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes. And
would Jan or Neha would you like to add to that? Because children photography and lifestyle photography, they HyperSmooth 2.0.
So recently, I do all stuff with GoPros. I have no limits. Like I take it around underwater. So I did this cycling thing in my riverside, and I wanted. It was my cousin's cycle, so I didn't have any gears. I wasn't prepared to shoot anything there. I just went there with the cycle. But I thought, you know what? I'll just get a shot of me cycling in a super view mode, and then just capture it. But I didn't have a bike mount. I didn't have any mount. I just had my GoPro. So I literally held it in my mouth, like literally. It's very hard to believe, but I did that and I just cycled it.
You held the GoPro in your mouth.
Yes, I did this GoPro, not even the session. This GoPro Hero 8 Black, and I rode the cycle. And I'll show you the footage. It was not even stabilized like in a software. I just put it right there, and you can see the footage if it can come right now.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
You can see the horizon. It doesn't move. Like only the cycle is moving. So if that good is the stabilization on the Hero 8 right now, that the horizon is level at all the time. So you cannot see a shake. Like you have to induce a shake to sometimes give a feel that okay, it's body mounted. So that is the kind of perfection the HyperSmooth has come up right now, and that's amazing.
Neha, would you like to add to that? That was
Yes, I
incredible. I
would.
mean, Jan, holding it in your mouth, man, that's something really, really unique. Yeah. So you would not hold any other camera in your mouth, and don't even try. It's like a stunt. So don't try holding a camera in your mouth ever. Okay. But you can do it with a GoPro though. Okay. So just don't swallow it. Okay. So sorry, Neha. Yes, Neha, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I would. So, as I was telling you before, kids love to just jump around and go completely crazy. And the HyperSmooth doesn't just help only with video, but also with still images, which we love to capture with kids. And I'm going to show you this one image of a kid who is, basically a complete acrobat on the trampoline, and she just does these splits and things. And all I did was just place the GoPro on the trampoline and just let her go crazy. And with any other camera or something with a gimbal, it would just be moving around and it wouldn't be able to capture something that's so still and so accurate. But I'm just going to show you what I've actually got. You see the clarity of this shot where she's just up in the air. The GoPro is also probably just jumping up and down along with her. but it's made no difference to the clarity at all for it, because it's that good. So I love the fact that it's this hyper smooth thing. And also I'd like to share a video with you guys of these kids swimming underwater and jumping in to the pool with the GoPro. It's amazing how smooth it is. Yeah, so you can actually see how much fun the kids are having. I mean, the mermaid costumes, the swimming, even being in an indoor play area while it's, not so great outside. If it's too hot and everything, you can still just take the GoPro with you. Kids have so much more fun actually doing whatever they're doing with the GoPro, because they know that they're in control of what kind of footage they're getting. And I just like to drop in one little thing about the remote control feature over here and just add to that. Like when I'm shooting with kids, what really helps is, even though they have control of the GoPro, I have control over what's actually being shot on the GoPro app on my phone. So like, for example, if they're doing like, they're just going round and round and doing like a fugri kind of a shot, I can switch on from the phone. I can switch it from a video, get the video footage that I want to, and switch it to a photo mode and get the pictures that I want, or switch it to a time lapse mode and then control when it's being recorded, when it isn't being recorded. So, it's great because I'm giving them this illusion that they're in control, but it's actually me that's controlling what footage I'm getting. And it's incredible how it works like that with the app.
That's wonderful. So basically, with the GoPro, you can with the app you can actually control what you're shooting, what mode the camera is on. You also have a certain range of manual settings and auto settings that you can immediately enable depending on the kind of situation that you're in. So we have about 10 minutes or 12 minutes left of the webinar before we need to actually conclude. So I'm going to quickly ask a couple of questions, especially regarding Neha, what you just mentioned about the app. There is also the voice command. Now, this question also comes from Atirath Shetty. How do you take advantage of the voice commands feature on the GoPro to photograph unique perspectives? So this is a question that has come from our live. So Atirath, Neha, would you like to answer Atirath Shetty how it works with the voice commands feature? How it really
Yes.
functions?
Yes, it's actually very, very intelligent the way GoPro's got the voice command, because it has an Indian voice command feature. So, it understands our accent and the way we pronounce things. And basically, the way it works is once you go to the settings and turn on your voice commands, and like, say, for example, you have your GoPro with you and, it's sort of pointed towards you for a selfie, all you have to do is say, GoPro, take a photo, or GoPro, take a video. And it just starts on the mode that it is. It takes the picture for you, and it takes like a second or so, but you don't need the other hand to be clicking. You can do this, you can do whatever you want really with the kids. And it's so easy for the kids to also understand that after hearing me say GoPro, take a photo enough times, they take the GoPro and they're saying it to the GoPro, and the GoPro is just obeying their commands, which is great.
There's also another question here, Neha. From This is from Aisha. This is regarding the video that you just showed. She asks, Neha, the slide image you showed, was it an image or a screen grab from a video? If it was an image, did you keep it on a timer?
Yes. The image that I showed, there were two images. One was on that merry-go-round where I had attached it to one of the horses. And the first one before that was the one of the GoPro attached to the bottom of the slide. Both of these are actual photos. They're not screen grabs from a video. So GoPro has this amazing feature where you go to the time-lapse mode. And in the time-lapse mode settings, you can change it from a time-lapse video to a time-lapse photo mode. And then what that basically does is once you click, you can control at how many intervals you want it to keep taking pictures till you click it again. So for example, I normally use the quickest setting, which is 0.5 seconds. So every half a second, it keeps clicking an image till I finally click the click button again. So if lots of stuff is happening, if the kid is coming down the slide, or if you're going round and round, every half a second, it's continuously taking shots. So you can then go back to all of those images and find that one money shot and go with that. And that's so much clearer and better than taking a screen grab from a video, even though that's great.
And basically, all of this can be controlled from the phone, and you
Yes.
can even change the mode, change the settings as you wish
Absolutely.
and how you wish.
You just have to swipe. You swipe and then it goes from photo to video to time lapse photo, and then within that you have the different settings where you can change it. And I normally find that, for parents who are using the GoPro and people who are not professional photographers, the auto mode are like, they're just brilliant. They're really amazing.
Yatish, there's another question that has come again on our live feed. Sachin S asks this question: what
Yeah.
are the best underwater or scuba diving settings for videos and photos on the Hero 8? Um, so,
Okay.
I think the question can be split into sort of two parts. One is, what is the kind of gear that you would recommend
Hmm.
for scuba divers, and the second would be what kind of settings.
Okay, maybe I'll speak about the settings bit, and then Jan can add some bits about the gear, because he actually uses a lot of does a lot of underwater photography. Now, the settings I would recommend is, at the bare minimum, if you're shooting a video, keep it at at the bare minimum at 1440p, with the bitrate set to high. Keep the white balance at normal, auto. And just make sure that when you're shooting, make sure you shoot it around the afternoon time, because when you're shooting underwater photography or taking videos underwater at noon, you got the sunlight directly coming from top and piercing into the water, and creates all kinds of crazy reflections and refractions underwater. So your shot, even if you're taking a selfie underwater or if you're taking pictures of fish, as you scuba dive, the videos and the photos tend to look much more spectacular as compared to when it's in the morning or in the evening times. So shoot during that noon bracket between, say, 11 to 1. I think you should get some incredible shots around that time. Jan will definitely have to, you can add some bits onto this.
Yeah. I do a lot of underwater photography with my fishes. I have a lot of aquariums here, so I take it there and I do it on my river. And also I've taken to the sea a couple of times. So the gear I would suggest is the underwater case if you are diving below the 10-meter level, and you need the red filter because the color underwater is different in the ocean, so you need that red color adjustment. So always have that, and always have the underwater protection, extra protection that GoPro provides. So because it is sometimes you might feel like I'm not going that deep. Sometimes if you are doing deep diving, use that case. And while shooting, you have to know where the light is coming from. It's underwater, but still you have to know where the light is coming from, and you have to shoot according to that because light is an important factor. So make sure there's good lighting, like Yatish said, because the water doesn't allow so much light underwater. The best time is the noon time where the sunlight is a more harsh above, so it will bring more light underwater. So that is my suggestion. And the one thing I think a lot of people have this confusion here of how do they keep their cameras from getting damaged in water. So I would add that as well here. So make sure your lids are closed properly because that is the most complaints that people come up with. They tell me that, bro, I have a GoPro and it's damaged. I took it in the water. So you have to make sure the lids are closed tightly and there's no sand or no dust at the edges of the lid because that is the only way the water can get inside your camera. So make sure the lids are properly shut. And once you've done taking the shots, take out the camera, then maybe dry it, and then immediately check for water leaks in case you have missed it. So I have done this every time I do take a shot underwater, and till now none of my GoPros have been water damaged. So I've been doing it from the Hero 5, Hero 6, Hero 7, Hero 8, GoPro Max, and the Fusion, and none of them had water damage. So you have to be careful. It's not like you can have a gear just throw it in the water. No, make sure the lids are closed because that is the only area where the water can get inside your camera.
So basically, the battery compartment and especially the ports, all the seals, and the gaskets that cover the ports need to be perfectly sealed before the camera goes in water. That is the only
Yeah. So
precaution, really.
yeah.
So
So
that
before till Hero 7 you had two ports, but from now Hero 8 you have just one port, so you have just one less port to take care of. So just it's so easy. It's just a routine. So it's for me a routine for me. Some people just carelessly, their one grain of sand also can make a difference. So just rub it. It's not so hard. You can use your fingers, maybe your handkerchief. It's not that hard to take care of your that area, and it's sorted. Like it just has to be your if you are always taking it on water, make sure it's always taken care of. That's all.
Right. Okay, so we just have time for maybe one more question, and I'm going to be basically asking this question of all three of our GoPro family members before we conclude. So actually make that two questions. One is a very quick sort of a look at the frame rates for video. So who would like to take this question? The frame rates for video. What are the kind of frame rates that we can have with a GoPro for video, especially for considering slow motion?
So now Hero 8 can actually go up to 240 FPS in full HD. That's 1080p.
That's
And
fantastic.
if you drop it down to 120p, you can go as high as 2.7K, and at 60 FPS you can go up to 4K. So that's the variety of frame range of FPS what a GoPro offers, which actually is magnificent for the size of the system itself. So 240 FPS at full HD. I think 4 5 years back you needed a camera as big as a laptop, which we have shot with actually. But now that's come down to like a tiny camera, and the quality actually really really good. So if you're actually having decent amount of light, you can actually shoot at 240 fps with full HD and get some brilliant shots, which we keep often using in our wedding program. So
Abhinav, maybe you can take this last question that I have. It is about GoPro's capability with low light, because obviously, it's one of the questions that will be asked of any kind of photographer, whether it's lifestyle, children, weddings. What are the low light capabilities with the GoPro? What would you say? The GoPro can manage in low light.
So I'll just quickly compare the systems what we use. So we are having full frame mirrorless cameras, and we are having the tiny giants, which are the GoPros. Now, if you actually compare apples to apples, they won't obviously match. You'll be a fool to actually expect a tiny system to actually outperform the big system. But having said that, uh, GoPro has evolved into a system currently now that we can actually shoot in low light. And a lot of images I've already shown, which I'll actually pull up one image again, all over again. This is actually shot in one second. I'll just quickly share this image. Okay. This is shot. It's your usual low light situation. It may look really bright right now, but it is actually really low light. It's in an open ground. There is no bounce light. There are a couple of halogens, which you can see one of them in the frame. And this is your typical wedding scenario. And this image is coming out of a GoPro Fusion, the GoPro Max 360. And it just says everything about the capabilities now. And it's good to be actually used in production, and we use it, and that itself is a testament to how good it is. We won't be using any system which doesn't work for our production. So it says a
So
lot about the system.
I
Yeah, and
will
you were
also
saying
like
something.
to add. I would like to add to the low light because I do a lot of astro and not a lot of, but I love astro and low light, and I do a lot of star photography. So I'll just quickly share my screen. Um, so so if you can see my screen right now, so is it visible?
No, not yet, not yet,
Yeah.
Jan.
So can my screen come on? Yeah, it's visible right now.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so
Okay.
this,
Okay.
yeah, this was shot with a slow shutter. So, I mean, for 20 seconds. So I itself drew this. I used the voice command. I used the remote shutter, and it was just me because it was the lockdown period. And you can see the clouds, and you can see the stars. And the bright star is the uh, brightest one is the Jupiter. And this was shot with my GoPro Fusion, and it's the Milky Way. You can see the cloudy stuff on there. It's a 360 photo converter into this. So, and there's another angle, and that blue light is the power bank. So I was powering it whole night, and this is also a normal evening photo on the Fusion. I tried years back. This is years back. So back then also the GoPro had amazing low light capability. So I could get a lot of stars, Milky Way, and all those night stuff on the GoPro. So that is something I really love with GoPro now that the low light. So if you have a better condition like without light pollution, I think you'll get even better results because mine place is not that far from the town and the cities. Still I got some good details in the sky. So if you are in a very remote place, you go to a remote place like Himachal, and you can get even better results with the GoPro. So that sensor, that small sensor, can give you so much detail that you really will not expect from such a small camera.
Thank you so much, Jan. Well, that's the
One, quickly add one more thing which we really use, and it's very critical for us in the whole scheme of work. GoPro now has profiles where you can actually make profiles of settings for your kind of work. So I have a profile for slow motion set at 1440p. Then I have a full resolution 4K profile set at 60p. That's separate. Then I have a profile separately for a photo time lapse. I have a profile for a hyperlapse. And these are quickly available inside a drop down menu. I don't need to go inside setting to change everything. So these are the preset profiles you can actually customize to your liking and just quickly scroll through and select what you're shooting. So it just makes the life so much easier and quicker. You don't need to actually go inside each setting and do mind changes. So I think that's something which has absolutely been like magnificent for us in the current iteration, which weren't present in the previous versions of GoPro.
so basically the latest iteration of GoPro is the one to go for. Which actually brings me to my very final question. Yatish, maybe you can help us with this particular question. There are a lot of amateurs, a lot of beginners, and also, parents like me. I would like to, buy a rugged camera for my kid. So just a very quick recap on, what are the kind of GoPros that are available now, and what would be best for beginners, amateurs, and pros. Just a very quick
Okay.
recap.
All right. So our range currently consists of the GoPro Hero 7 Silver, the GoPro Hero 7 Black, the GoPro Hero 8 Black, and finally the GoPro Max, which is a 360 camera, right? Now, again, the price range goes all the way down from around 20K to all the way over 40 for the Fusion. Now, I would say if you are a beginner, if you're strapped for a bit of a cash, I think the Hero Silver, Hero 7 Silver is a great starting point. It's got some amazing feature sets for you to start your journey into photography. And once you get familiarized with, working with the GoPro, with, having a lot of fun with it, as you capture your, daily adventure and other, experiences, maybe then you can move on to something like the Hero 8 Black and finally onto the Max, which is a, a proper creative tool because it shoots in 360 degrees. It gives you so much more creative freedom to move your digital camera within the 360 frame around, and we can really have a whole lot of fun. So I would say Hero 7 Silver would be a great starting point. But if you've already used the GoPro for a little bit, straight away go for the Hero 8 Black. I mean, it is the ultimate tool at the moment. It's tiny, fits into your pocket, and HyperSmooth 2.0, it's just out of this world, which gives you, super shake-free footage across all, frame rates.
Thank you so much, Atish. Uh, that's all the time that we have with this session. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Yatish, for joining in
Thank
on
you
this
so
wonderful
much.
session.
Pleasure.
So for all the viewers out there, the questions that we might not have been able to answer within this session, I'm sure that we'll get back to you with the answers to that. So please stay tuned on the Facebook page. We will definitely answer the questions. Remember that you can follow us on follow GoPro on Facebook and Instagram at the rate of GoPro India. And to finally conclude, just remember that if you are a GoPro user, if you are a GoPro photographer, if you're shooting videos with GoPro, remember that you can submit this to the GoPro Awards, where you stand a chance to win some awesome awards for your GoPro shots. And also, you will have a chance to be featured on the GoPro social media as well. And one final, very special announcement that GoPro has in association with Better Photography, GoPro is announcing a very, very special contest. This is the GoPro Challenge. You stand a chance to win the GoPro Max. Again, let me just repeat that. You stand a chance to win the GoPro Max. So all you need to do, if you're a GoPro photographer, you need to share your your best GoPro shots. Log in to your Instagram account, follow at the rate GoPro India and at the rate Better Photography. You need to follow both the handles, at the rate GoPro India and at the rate Better Photography. Share your favorite GoPro shot and tell us what makes this shot special for you. Again, tag at the rate GoPro India and at the rate Better Photography. Add the following hashtags. Now, this is important. Add the following hashtags. This is an Instagram contest. So you need to add the following hashtags, which is GoPro Challenge, hashtag GoPro Challenge, and hashtag Better Photography with GoPro. And well, uh, the judging will begin. The contest is live right away. In fact, the contest will be live the moment we end the session. So please do participate. And the contest starts today and ends. The last day of submission is the 29th of June. The last day of submission is the 29th of June. So you stand a chance of winning the GoPro Max. And that's the GoPro Max that Jan is holding in his hand. So that's something that if you want to win, and if you're a GoPro user, please share your favorite images with us, and you can win. And with that, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you so much, Atish. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Jan.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you. It's been
Thank
a
you. Thank
pleasure.
you. It was fun.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank
and
you so
a very,
much.
very big thank you to all the viewers who tuned in and
Yeah,
who
thank you
asked all the
guys.
questions.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you
guys.
so much,
Yeah.
guys, for being an awesome audience. All the questions.
Yeah, it
Super,
was a
super
fun session.
questions. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of fun. Thank you for making it so much fun. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you, Madhavan, for doing it so well, organizing the whole thing.
Oh
Thanks,
yeah.
Madhavan.
As usual. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Everyone.
Bye.